Welcome to Sober Living Snippets, the podcast helping people over 40 live alcohol-free so you can improve your relationships, feel youthful again, and finally ditch regret and shame. Hi, welcome to your snippet. It is Tuesday, and what are we talking about this week? There's no theme. And yesterday was pretty fun. We talked about diagnoses. Today, I want to talk about honesty. So I don't have a theme for today. I'm just going by the seat of my pants, dipping into my grab bag of topics that I've been collecting for a couple of years. And what I do, is I decide what I'm going to talk about depending on what comes up for me during the day. And I really try to just stay open. And by come up for me, I mean what comes into my world. And so sure enough, I spoke to a guy today, an individual today, a person today, who's struggling with alcohol. And the conversation, the topic of that conversation ended up to be about honesty. And so that's what I want to talk about today. This individual and many individuals like this person say they want to quit drinking. But do they? Do we? Do you? Did I? Right? And this is tricky stuff. We have two little voices in our head. One is like, oh my God, all I want to do is be alcohol free and healthy and have my life back. That's all I want. That's all I want. And then there's the other voice that's like, no, I need my booze, right? I don't know how to do that. I don't know what it's like. I'm afraid. It's often fear-based. And so what we want to avoid is denying that other voice. So honesty, self-honesty. And I spoke to this person, and at first there was that denial of, no, yeah, I want to do this. And when I started asking more questions and more questions, it became very clear to both of us. I didn't have to call it out. It was obvious to the person themselves that they weren't being honest, that they weren't ready, that they weren't willing. Because the fact of the matter is that until we are willing to quit drinking, we'll never quit drinking. Nobody can do it for us. Nobody. And crying and whining about how badly we want to quit, if we're not really ready and willing, is just annoying to everyone. Don't cry and whine. It doesn't help anybody. I know, because I tried it for years. All it does is just really irritate our loved ones. Ask yourself, the point I want to make today is ask yourself, if you're struggling and you haven't quit yet, or you're going through that up and down, oh, quit, can't quit, gonna quit, get a couple of days and drink again. If you're at that stage, the question I would recommend you ask yourself, or suggest you ask yourself, is whether or not you really want to quit. Another question to ask is, because I also often hear people talk about, well, I just want to be able to drink sometimes. And if we're going to get honest with ourselves, if you really are an alcoholic, that's never going to happen. Real alcoholics can't drink. We can't. We can't do it. We can't just drink on a Saturday. We can't just have one or two. If you can do that, you're not a real alcoholic. Good for you. Congratulations. But if you are, and that's your plan, you're thinking, well, I'll learn how to moderate my drinking. It's going to be really, really incredibly painful. Heavy drinkers can do that, but not real full-blown alcoholics. It's just because what happens when we drink is it triggers a craving in the body. And that's just really, really hard to fight, that craving. So yeah, honesty. We got to get honest with ourselves. What do you want? Do you really want to live alcohol-free? If so, what are you willing to do to get that freedom? Right? We can't have our little cake and eat it too. Because once we eat it, it's gone. So we have to be willing to make some sacrifices. Sometimes we have to give up friends. Sometimes we have to, we don't get to do the things we were doing because we're not drinking. And life is different. It looks different. And if we're not willing, then maybe we don't want it bad enough. So yeah, just the thought of honesty, which just came to my mind or came into my consciousness today through a person who is struggling, and I felt really bad. Because I know exactly, when I talk to people that come into my world, and it just brings me right back to that struggle. And I was there for so many years that I just feel your pain, really, really feel it. But I want you to know that if you're not there yet, you can get on this side and it is worthwhile. And for me, when I was on that other side and not being honest with myself, I didn't even know that I could do it. I just assumed that I would fail and be miserable, and who knows? I wasn't honest at all. I just never imagined that I could be this happy. So there it is. You can, encouraging you to get honest with yourself today. And your daily do is I'm going to riff off of yesterday, and I'm going to give you an extension of yesterday's do because I loved that. So do you remember yesterday's do? Yesterday's do was repeat the words, I am on the mend. I am on the mend. I want you to carry that on for one more day. I am on the mend. If that's not your favorite affirmation, then come up with another one, but I would like you to be using an affirmation today. We want to use them for longer than one day anyway. So if I am on the mend works for you, it's a good one, right? It's super quick. It means, what does it mean? It means you're healing. So whatever is going on for you, let it resonate, let it keep resonating, write it down again in your journal and just hold that affirmation for a little bit longer. And as I say, if that one didn't click for you, come up with an affirmation today that's super simple and repeat it all day long. Every time you think of it, repeat it, okay? All right, that's your do. Sending you love, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back tomorrow so we can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.